Okay, so we're going to get started here with our program. I asked everyone to take a seat or to stand up, however you feel comfortable, and we're going to get started. I want to introduce myself first in Cheyenne. That is our protocol way, is to introduce ourselves. So I just want to say, hello everyone and welcome. My name is Thunder Woman, and my English name is Lawrence Ma Rodriguez. And I just want to welcome everyone here in a good way, and to start off by just how we had this happen, for people to come and to congregate and visit. I just feel like that really helps honor and centers our goal and our mission for this day. And it's very important, I think, for everyone to come together, because we are creating history. This is May 5th, and this is the Congressional Day of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls. And we also did mark history here in the city of Missoula, as this has been signed by our mayor within the proclamation. So as you all are here today, we are not only here for this extraordinary, this amazing event, but we're here in solidarity. We're here because this is not just any person that's affected, but it's each of us that are affected. Each of us, especially as Indigenous people, each of us knows someone who has been missing or who has been affected. Each of us has lost someone, either directly or indirectly, to murder, to violence. This is not something new that we're talking here today. This is something that has been going on for quite some time. And when I mean quite some time, I mean hundreds of years this has been going on. And I want to recognize that, because I feel that when we come here, when we have these meetings, we have to know, where does this come from? This isn't our way. Our way isn't to hurt people, isn't to enslave people, isn't to kill people. Our ways of our traditional knowledge is to respect one another, to honor each other, to love each other, and to walk with strength, and to walk with an open heart. That's the way of our life, and that's the way that each of us knows the Creator by. That who we are and how we treat each other. And so I want to just say that, just to kind of ground each other and ground us in this space. And so this is going to be a traumatizing health issue that we're going to talk about. And so if you do have any type of stress or feeling anxiety, or however that you feel by this and by the families that are directly impacted, please come to us, come to me. We do have some Indigenous trauma professionals here available to be an advocate and of support. So we also want this to be an educational place, and also a safe environment. So with all of our programs and with every type of event and gathering that we do, we first ground it in prayer. And so I would like to first acknowledge our traditional homelands that we sit on here today, which is the Salish and Bitterroot Salish and Kalispel people. We want to honor them, and with every event that I do, I always know my protocol, and I reach out for for our Indigenous people that have first stood here and that lived here before us. And so I want to open this event with a prayer from Bitterroot Salish Elder Myrna Dumontier. And I ask everyone at this time to please take your hats off and to kind of hold respect, deep respect, as we have Myrna, who is coming up here to do our opening prayer. So thank you.
I'm not boring. Welcome everyone to the homeland of the Salish and the Kalispel. Thank you for your acknowledgement, Lauren. Thank you all for all that you are bringing with you tonight. Today I was thinking about this gathering and thinking about my ancestors. My dad used to like to tell a story about this land right here that we're standing on. There were two elder ladies when I was a small child. They were old women already. Mrs. Combs, Mary Ann Combs, and Ellen Big Sam. When they were tiny little girls, their father had a camp here. And this is where the Salish would graze their horses a lot of times and camp here, because the river held bull trout, and they would harvest those bull trout and dry them and share them. And that was part of their seasonal food gathering. One of those times when Ellen Big Sam and Mary Ann Combs were here, they woke up in the morning and the fog was halfway down on this mountain right here. And they couldn't see. Everything was socked in. And their horses were all gone. So their dad told them, you guys go up there. He said those horses probably went up there in that pocket. So those two little girls, probably the first people to break trail for the U of M trail, climbed that little hill in their moccasin feet. And sure enough, their horses were up there in that wooded pocket. And they retrieved the lead horses and let them back down and brought them back to camp. Many years later, my great-grandmother, Louise Vanderburg, was born just across the river right here, where Albertsons, Eastgate Albertsons is. I took her there some years ago and asked her right where she was born as we were parking in the parking lot. And she got out and she stood there and she looked around. She said, I think I was born right here. Then it was all asphalt and cement. But my growing up that made this land very much alive. My great-grandmother lived to be 90 years old. She died in 1987, leaving a rich history and a rich culture behind. A rich knowledge of the Salish people and where we are, who we are, and where we're going. And our people were not warlike people. And at times when things got really, really tough, our people turned to prayer, turned to God, turned to the Creator. And this past year, as we entered into shutdowns and isolation and fear, I started to pray and say, what do you want me to do? Because I felt like I needed to be running around taking care of elders, looking in on people. bringing supplies, doing whatever I could doing whatever I could think of. And I kept hearing this voice say, just be still and pray. And so on my way here today, I was thinking about that and I was praying about that. And on those hard times, from all the people across this land who walked in the trail of tears, who lost everything and who suffered much, every tribe turned to God. Every tribe has their ways. Every tribe has their ceremonies. And that's what my grandmother left us, or my great-grandmother. Because my grandmother, her daughter, was murdered in 1959. And it's an unsolved murder to this day. And I watched my dad grieve the loss of his mother all of his life until he died at the age of 82. And so my brothers and sisters and I decided that it was time to let it be. Just let it be. Because there were times when my great-grandmother would say that to us. Just let it be. It's done. Our grandmother has gone with the rest of the ancestors. That walk is over. And for me, the red paint, we went through a training a few months ago, and the end was to paint our faces red with the handprint. And at the very end of that process, we were asked to wash it off. Wash it off now. Stand up now. Go again. And so that's my prayer today. To every tribe represented here, every family, friend, relative that is carrying so much hurt and so much loss and so much pain. I have no words except that I know what that feels like. And I watched the suffering, and I felt my father's suffering because he was the only child. Link your arms together. And I ask the Creator today that He would give us the strength to go again. Link our arms together to be able to just keep walking and keep going. We've got to find that place in us that's just hungering and thirsting after more of God, more of a reliance on God, so that we don't quit and we don't give up and we find the answers, we find justice, we find our loved ones. And if we don't have the courage to let it go, just let it go. God, we're hurting. And a lot of us don't even know how to pray because we're hurt. And so we just ask you to see all these people here with your merciful, loving kindness. Look at us, help us, show us another way, and have mercy on those things that have been done. Have mercy on those people that are lost, and bring them home if it can be done. Bring them back to us so we can say goodbye in a good way, so we can have our ceremonies, so we can have our prayers the way we pray, each tribe. We ask for your help, Creator, for today and for all those unborn children that are coming up, and for those children that right now are sitting there watching us, and how we're going to do this, how we're going to handle this. Ask you for grace, Creator God, to go forward and to be good examples and to be merciful and loving and kind, even in the midst of rage. When you need to scream, go out and scream. When you need to go jump in the river and come back out and just scream your lungs out because you're hurt, because you're lonesome, go do it. We do that. And we smoke ourselves. And we call out to God for help. So today that's what we're doing as one people, all these people here and our friends and relatives. We're joined together, God. We're joined together here. And we're saying, help us. Help us. Help our relatives. Help our friends. Light the path for us to follow that leads to justice, that leads to resolution, that leads to renewed faith in you. It's so easy to blame you, and we're sorry. It's so easy to be mad at you. We're sorry for that. Renew our spirit. Renew a right spirit within me. You created me to be a spirit being. You created me to stand on 2 good feet. You created me with a heart that knows love and wants love and needs love. Let me be that channel, that vessel that knows how to do it and give it. And always be mindful of you in all things that I think and say and do today. In those words, those names, we call you God, Father God, Creator God, Jesus, Holy One. And in your languages, all those names, call on him and thank him right now. For right now. Amen.
Nya-ish. Myrna, your prayer was so powerful and so impactful. You can feel it. You can feel the love, and I'm sure everyone feels that level of gratitude and level of reaching out to our higher power, whoever that is to you, whatever you call your higher power. For Cheyenne, we call our higher power, we call our creator Mahayot. So Mahayot, we ask Mahayot to bless us, to bless each and every one of you here as we go through this program in a good way. So now I would like to welcome Shawn Whitegrass, who is Bikini, he is Blackfeet, and his wife, Brittany Hunter, who is Hopi and Wallapie Nations. They're going to come and they're going to sing healing songs for everyone to open our event in a good way. So we just ask everyone to welcome them. So.
Hello everybody, my name is Shawn Whitegrass. I'm from Browning, Montana. I'm Blackfeet, I'm a student here at the university. We were asked to sing 2 different songs. One was requested, a song that's been around for a while, and we kind of had trouble finding the roots to it, but it's been sang by a lot of people. The first song that we're going to sing is a newer song that sings with a group that I sing with, of Young Spirit. This song is their new song that just came out, and that's called Angel Eagle, and that's what we're going to sing first. And the second one is a healing song that was requested by the people here. because I need you now. Hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. Hey oh, hey, way ah, hey ah, hey ah, way ah, hey ah, oh, way ah, yeah, way ah, way ah, way ah, way oh ah. Hey, hey ah, way ah, yeah, hey ah. Hey oh, hey, way oh, hey, way ah, oh, way ah, yeah, hey ah. Hey ah, way ah, hey oh ah, hey ah, way ah. Hey oh, hey oh, hey Jolie, go come on down from the heavens just to help us on our way. They come to teach us, then they leave us to find some other soul to save. Angel Eagle, come on down, rear our drums, because I need you now. Hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. Hey oh, hey, way ah, hey ah, hey ah, way ah, hey ah, oh, way ah, yeah, way ah, way ah, way ah, way oh ah, hey hey ah, way ah, yeah, hey ah, hey oh, hey, way oh, hey, way ah, oh, way ah, yeah, hey ah, hey ah, way ah, way oh ah, hey hey ah, way ah. Angel Eagle, come on down from the heavens just to help us on our way. They come to teach us, then they leave us to find some other soul to save. Angel Eagle, come on down, hear our drums, because I need you now. Hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. So the second song, we were asked to sing it for this event especially. Like I said, we had trouble finding the roots of this song. But that last song we sang is called Angel Eagle, and it was made by Conan Yellowbird of Muscatine, Alberta. Hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. Lately I can't get you out of my mind. Oh, how hard it is to say goodbye. But it's never goodbye. Just say I'll see you again. Safe trails down the road to home, my friend. Hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. Lately I can't get you out of my mind. Oh, how hard it is to say goodbye. But it's never goodbye. Just say I'll see you again. Safe trails on the road to home, my friend. Hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. Lately I can't get you out of my mind. Oh, how hard it is to say goodbye. But it's never goodbye. Just say I'll see you again. Safe trails down the road to home, my friend. Hey oh, hey oh, hey oh. Lately I can't get you out of my mind. Oh, how hard it is to say goodbye. But it's never goodbye.
Just say I'll see you again. Safe trails down the road to home, my friend.
Wow, thank you so much, Shawn and Brittany. Thank you both for your songs and your strength. That last song, my aunt shared with me a few weeks ago. I lost my cousin due to violence, and my aunt who shared that song, she was mourning for her daughter, and so that song resonated with me, and with the loss of my older cousin. And so I wanted to sing it, and I wanted to sing it 4 times. The reason why I said 4 times is because our 4 directions, to honor each direction for our spirits and for those who we cannot see right now, to honor them. And so that's part of that last song I wanted to have, and I wanted to have Brittany sing that last bit. And thank you for that. Appreciate that. So we're gonna now go on and introduce our speakers today. And so I want to welcome our first speaker, and that is going to be Dr. Anya Belcourt. Anya Belcourt, she is a citizen of the 3 affiliated tribes, Mandan and Hidatsa, and she's also affiliated with the Blackfeet and Chippewa nations. Annie is a family directly impacted by this health crisis, MMIW, as she has lost her younger sister, Elena Belcourt, who was murdered in 2001 and is directly impacted by this. And so I want to welcome her, and so we're going to do that. Can you hear me okay? This is my daughter, Chloe Bitlow, and we're here to honor my sister. But before I talk a little bit about that, I just wanted to introduce myself. Oki Nixokoax, hello friends. Nista Nadanako Amanisiaki, Midwoge. My name is Otter Woman, and I'm born Blackfeet, Chippewa, Mandan, Hidatsa. Wanted to just start just a couple words to center is Ayo Nina, Ayo Istabatabi, Nukoket, Spamokanana, Spamoket Mixka Mapi. Those words are just basically saying that asking Creator to help us as we meet here today, and to honor those who we have lost, and also those who remain missing. I was very honored to ask to be here tonight and to represent my sister Elena. Elena Kate Belcourt was murdered in 2001 in Billings, and she was 21 when she was murdered, and she would be 42 on May 25th if she were here to be with us. I don't pretend to know the loss of having a missing loved one, and so my heart goes out to you who are missing people. What I will say is over time, things continue to be a challenge for survivors, but there's a lot of people who are praying for each of you and who want you to do well, and to do ikakima, to try hard, to dig deep within yourself, and to keep trying hard, and to treat each other with kitsikokamim, with love. And I think that we can love each other, and that's a gift that no one can take from us. I was very honored to share my life for 21 years with my sister, and she was a second mom to Chloe here, and she can say a few words about her as well. But she was a really funny, smart kind person. And my father and I, and all of my family worked really hard to honor her life. And I was fortunate to have her and to finish a doctorate in clinical psychology. And the reason I did that was for my sister and for my family. And I would not have been able to become a professor here without my sister and without my family. There's a couple things I wanted to mention. If you want to hear more about my story, I actually had an article published today in Indian Country Today that if you'd like to read, you can just Google Annie Belcourt and everything will come up in my life, including articles I've written. And, you know, I think that we are just at a point where we want to change our communities and change that with love and with compassion for other people, as well as compassion for ourselves. And I think it's time that we continue this effort to reduce stigma around things like violence that impacts our communities and to provide voice to survivors. And that's what my life has been about. And I hope that my sister can feel that because my father's with her now and taking care of her. And when I mentioned Mixkamapi, that's his name, is a mixed iron boy. And he was named by his uncle, Manny, who had been in World War II and been a veteran there. When he came back, he named my father Mixed Iron Boy after the tanks that he saw in the war. And he was both in the European theater as well as the Pacific theater. Unfortunately, he came back to our home reservation, the Blackfeet Reservation, and died a few months later. And so we don't want that legacy to continue. We want the legacy of our lives to be one of hope and to reflect the resiliency of our people. And I hope that each of you take that as a takeaway message for today. For the survivors who are here, I also made copies of the proclamation from Mayor Engen's office, and I believe somebody's going to read it, so I'm going to leave a copy up here for that individual. And I will also give you a copy. I have a couple framed copies, and then I have some hard copies. Not enough for everybody here. Thank you all for being here too. I feel like very heartened to see all of you here to represent families and to stand in solidarity with all of us. So I want to thank you all for the love that you share with all of us tonight. Thank you.
I also want to second that and thank everybody for being here today, and go start by introducing myself. So Oki, my name is Chloe Skydetlov, or Magaki, and just as we were standing here, I realized that today I am 22 years old. That's 1 year longer I get to spend on this earth than Elena did. And as I think about what those words mean to me in my life, I think about not only legacy, but the reverberating effects of which this epidemic has affected Indigenous youths. As to how it teaches Indigenous women and Two-Spirit youth specifically, what worth is taught to us when we constantly see the loved ones around us falling, being taken from us brutally, desensitized to it, and how in my life I've personally reckoned with this, with a radical self-acceptance of my own rage, a process of making my anger and my joy sacred to me, and finding value within that, and being able to carry Elena with me every single day.
Thank you so much, Annie and Chloe, for everything you shared and for sharing the life lived by her sister. Next, I would like to introduce Anya Means. She is a citizen of the Northern Cheyenne Nation. Anya is the aunt of Sarah Stops Pretty Places, who was found murdered in 2019 in Bighorn County, and whose murder is still unsolved. And so I want to bring and uplift Anya as she come here and share her truth, share her family's story, and to bring justice, who did that to her, to bring justice to that and to bring truth. And that's why we're here today, is because we want to shed light on this issue, but we want and we demand justice as well. Justice needs to be served, and no longer should our family members suffer by the hands and to think that they can get away with it. And so we want to make sure that we're also looking at solutions and what ways that we can help provide that. So I want to welcome Anya, and I want to welcome her family too at this time. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Anya Means, and I'm a member of the Northern Cheyenne Nation. I am here to give my niece, Sarah Stops Pretty Places, a voice. So I want to share a little bit of who Sarah was as a person. She was such a beautiful soul. She was full of light. She was compassionate. She had a big heart. And this little girl just had a lifetime of diversity and hardships, and she came out with the purest of hearts. She traveled back and forth quite a bit from my reservation, the Northern Cheyenne Reservation, to up here. Her father and her mother at one point in time was living up here. And she is also of the Crow Nation, so she had lots of family that she went back and forth to. Missoula was a place that she came to quite a bit, and she did have plans of finishing high school here in Missoula at Hellgate. My sister and I were her family up here beyond her dad. And, yeah, she had plans. She had dreams. She wanted to, she was really good in singing and dancing. She was a natural athlete. She had her whole life ahead of her, and went home to visit, to go to Crow Fair, and never came back. So Sarah turned 18 on August 14th, and she had went down to our res, and the Crow res down for Crow Fair, and she had went down to visit, and she went missing on the 24th. We were alarmed, but we're in hopes that, she had went off with friends, or, was just out doing her thing. her body was found August 29th, and we, the family, we weren't informed until September 11th. I could go on with the complications of her case. There are so many. There's so many things where the law enforcement and the authorities down in Bighorn County has failed our family and continue. In a few months, it will be 2 years, and we are still where we started. We don't know anything, and we're not getting any help with the law enforcement down there, the authorities down there. And my family has basically been on our own in trying to put pressure and trying to investigate and trying to, down to build our own website, to just everything, just to get answers, just to get justice for her. And it's a tragedy for a family to even go through, to lose someone they love, but it's even more of a tragedy to have to carry all of that and not have justice, and not have to prove that she mattered, that her life mattered, that there are days I am so consumed with rage that I want to crawl out of my skin, and I know that's how my family feels. And there's days where all I can do is cry. And we don't have that closure, we don't have that resolution, we don't have that. We don't know what happened. We don't know if she died alone, if she was cold, if... We don't know. We don't have any kind of justice of who took her from us. We have no idea. And the fact that we have to fight for it, I'm extremely grateful for times like this where there is solidarity and people unite and come together, and especially this space that was facilitated, and in this very day that was made for families who can give their loved ones that were taken and who are still missing a voice, who can honor their loved ones, because it a lot of times it feels really hopeless. But my family's not going to stop. We won't stop, because she mattered. It's really hard to articulate what I want to say. And I try to stand here with my heart open, as I would like if I could just reach out and share my experience and share who she was, that it would open others' hearts and that people would care. And I do believe that's happening, but it's really hard. It's really heavy. It's heavy for families. So, I do want to say if anyone else is interested in going in or finding out more about restoring what happened, there is a Justice for Quesera Facebook page. Our family just launched a justiceforquesera.org website. We just launched it today. We are doing a auction, art auction, in hopes of raising money for reward money, in hopes that because people do know something that happened and that they'll speak up. And we're also hopes of raising money for a private investigator, because we are getting nowhere with the authorities down in Belcourt County. I do want to just thank everybody for coming here and in support and solidarity. I want to thank everybody that has come up and said prayers and sang in the Missoula Project Beacon for facilitating this very space of healing. Yeah, that's what I got. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Anya and family. Thank you. We have family here that's representing. And again, you can find all of those on Missoula Project Beacon, on our Facebook. We do have Quesera's auction and ways to donate, ways to help. Because again, for those of you who do not know, Bighorn County is one of the highest counties in the country of missing and murdered Indigenous women. Many of those who are murdered and missing are people from my tribe, Northern Cheyenne, as well as Crow tribe. So that is a huge issue that we are facing here. And again, another issue to bring up is that the highest cases of missing and murdered Indigenous people, the second highest state in the nation, is Montana. This is why we're here today. This is why we have family to speak. This is why we're focused today on bringing justice and on educating each other of this issue, of this health crisis. So as I move further along in our schedule, I do want to have Sharon Kickingwoman and Joni Kickingwoman briefly speak on the proclamation that was made today. We do have that available for them to briefly speak on that. So welcome Sharon and Joni.
Thank you, Lauren. My name's Joni Kickingwoman. I'm happy to be here with all of you today.
Hello, everyone. I don't know if you can hear me. We'll share this one. My name's Sharon Kickingwoman. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I'm Blackfeet and Grow One. It's an honor to be with you all today. I grew up here in Missoula, so it's great to hear and feel your support. I want to thank the speakers who have spoke so far and the organizers of this event. Recently, the city of Missoula issued a proclamation
to designate today, May 5th, as the National Day of Awareness for Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women. And as Lauren mentioned, that comes after a congressional act which it commemorates the birthday of Hannah Harris, who is a missing and murdered woman from the Northern Cheyenne Reservation. So it's an honor to be here with my mom, and we're just gonna go ahead and read that for you all. Whereas the city of Missoula joins with Canada to spur awareness in Montana, the Great Plains region, and the United States for the murdered and missing Indigenous women. And
whereas there is not a comprehensive estimate of Indigenous women who are missing and murdered in the United States, but many factors contribute to this crisis, such as fear, stigma, legal barriers, racism, sexism, and the devastating levels of violence in the U.S. And
whereas nearly half of all Native American women in the United States have been raped, assaulted, or stalked by an intimate partner, they are 2.5 times more likely to experience sexual assault. 1 in 3 will be raped in her lifetime. And on some reservations, women are murdered at a rate 10 times higher than the national average.
And whereas Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women Girls Awareness Day is proclaimed to be May 5th each year, and the event seeks to build support by increasing awareness in the United States.
And whereas there continue to be missing Native women in Montana and from Missoula, we seek to honor the families who have lost loved ones to violence or murder.
Now therefore, I, John Angen, standing in, Mayor of Missoula, Montana, do hereby proclaim May 5th, 2021 as the National Day of Awareness for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls.
Joni and Sharon, mother and daughter. That is a powerful duo. So thank you for sharing that. Next, we're going to have CSKT, Confederate Salish and Kootenai Tribes, Tribal Councilwoman and Presiding Officer of the Montana Missing Indigenous Persons Task Force, Ellie Bundy. So thank you and welcome Ellie at this time.
Good evening. Again, my name is Ellie Bundy. I'm a CSKT Council Representative, a member of our local CSKT MMIP work group, and a member of the core team tasked with developing CSKT's Tribal Community Response Plan, which I will speak to more later. I also serve as the presiding officer for Montana's Missing Indigenous Persons Task Force. First and foremost, I would like to thank you all for being here to acknowledge this day, May 5th, Hannah Harris's birthday. Happy heavenly birthday, Miss Hannah. I am so sorry that you're not able to be here today to celebrate your special day with family and friends as you should be. I hope you're experiencing complete peace, love, and comfort today with our Creator, today and every day. Today we also acknowledge others whose lives have been tragically taken, and we acknowledge those who are still missing. National Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women's Awareness Day. It's heartbreaking to me that we have a day like this, that this exists. It shouldn't. And don't get me wrong, I'm so grateful to every person here today to help raise awareness and provide comfort to those hurting and to provide hope to our tribal communities. I'm just saying that in a perfect world, this would not be our reality. It should not be our reality today. I would like to express my gratitude at this time for all those involved in helping to pass House Bill 35, House Bill 98, and Senate Bill 4 to establish a Missing Persons Review Commission, to extend the Montana Missing Indigenous Persons Task Force, and to extend the Looping in Native Communities grant program. It is my hope that we can take an in-depth look as some of the root issues that contribute to MMIP. One of those is runaway youth. A Montana Department of Justice data analysis project conducted in the spring of 2020 indicated that nearly 80% of the individuals that went missing between 2017 and 2019 are juveniles under the age of 18. That is astonishing to me. And I feel like it's a place that we can begin to have conversations to learn more about how and why that is, so that we can help to educate and better protect some of our most vulnerable, our children. I know our task force is ready to get back to work on behalf of our tribal communities to help end this heartbreaking epidemic. I was asked to speak to you today about CSKT's Tribal Community Response Plan. To preface that, I will provide a brief history. Tribal governments and American Indian and Alaska Native organizations had expressed concerns about missing and murdered members in tribal communities. In response, in November 2019, by executive order, President Trump established a task force on missing and murdered American Indian and Alaska Native persons, and Attorney General William Barr launched a national initiative to address missing and murdered Indigenous persons. In October of 2020, President Trump followed that with signing Savannah's Act into law. All three of those responses included direction to develop guidelines or protocols to apply to, address, or respond to missing Indigenous persons cases. Informed by initial input from tribal leaders, tribal law enforcement, and other community members, experts from the Department of Justice with assistance from the Department of the Interior and other federal government agencies created a draft guide to help develop tribal community response plans. CSKT, as the first pilot project team in the nation, utilized those draft guides to help develop our very own unique tribal community response plan, which I am proud to share was completed on April 1st of this year. So what is a tribal community response plan? It's a plan for how a tribal community will respond to the report of missing persons. It's developed by tribes in conjunction with U.S. attorney partners and others, and it's tailored to the specific needs, resources, and cultures of each tribal community. There are 4 guides that make up the plan. They include law enforcement, victim services, media and public communications, and community outreach. Many great things happen during our working sessions. For example, all law enforcement agencies with jurisdiction on the Flathead Reservation, and we have 10 of them, all agreed to work together under one common missing Indigenous persons response policy. A new method of sharing information amongst those agencies was identified, and every single one of those agencies designated MMIP law enforcement point of contact. A new victim service policy with a missing persons liaison was developed, and that person will be assisting our missing persons investigator to help better address the needs for resources and/or communications to our families with missing loved ones. We developed media response protocols for all phases of MMIP cases, ranging from prevention, reporting, searching and investigating, rescue and recovery, and seeking justice. And finally, we were able to develop a comprehensive list of resources that we can call upon to help in MMIP cases. This project is so near and dear to me and to those who worked on it as a part of our team. CSKT was already working hard on this issue, so you can say we had a head start. We had a fully functioning work group that was providing education and raising awareness in our communities and others. We created a missing persons protocol for reporting. We had strong tribal council support, strong resource networks in the community, and a strong working relationship with our tribal law enforcement team. So we were very excited when this opportunity presented itself, as it allowed us to dive a little bit deeper, to meet with other stakeholders, identify the gaps that we hadn't yet addressed, and to compile all of these plans into one beautiful working document. I am so hopeful that other tribal communities across the nation will seek to develop their own tribal community response plans. I hope tribal councils recognize the need to make this a priority, and that they support team efforts to develop policies, identify resources, or participate in training opportunities. I have offered to share about our process with any tribal nation wishing to know more. I'm so incredibly proud of our entire team, and I'm honored to have been a part of such important work. In closing, I would like to thank the Project Beacon for hosting this event and the speakers who presented to you today. I also extend genuine, heartfelt thanks to the families of those who have lost loved ones, who continue to share their stories so that others can better understand this heartbreaking reality. You are all in my thoughts and prayers every single day, and there's not a presentation that I don't do when I'm trying to help raise awareness where I don't speak about Jermaine or Kaysara or Hannah or Savannah and the many others who have been taken way too soon. And finally, thank you to all of you who made time to be here tonight, to listen and to learn and to help heal. Your presence is felt. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Councilwoman. I appreciate you and sharing your knowledge within the task force. And I hope that other tribal nations can follow suit as well. We are fortunate to have Salish and Kootenai, the reservation so close to us, and to follow that tribal protocol is amazing, since it's the first in the nation. So that's very huge. Right now we're going to do some engagement, and as you can see, the main hall is starting to light up in red. So it'll start to get brighter and brighter. And as the sun starts, coming down, we will be finishing up here, and then we will do a walk around with our Vigil candles. And so I just want to make sure we can see those lights, and they're bright red. And so it's starting to come down. So at this time, I chose special people to come up and to speak. So for those who I chose to speaking points, please come up here and line up. And so some of those speaking points is statistical knowledge of MMIW and of the current crisis that we're in, with actual numbers, with Native institutes and who are gathering this data and research. And so I want each person here to briefly to read the statement that they have. And then from there, I want the audience, everyone, to say together, "I hear you. I hear you." And so if each of you, whenever someone comes up and reads that knowledge, reads this, that person that they're reading, or that our demographic, we're not a number. We're not measured that way. And I want everyone to say, "I hear you." And so if we can do that, I think that would be really engaging as we are closing our event. So I'm going to ask our first person to come up and to say that.
Hi. The Sovereign Bodies Institute states that the top 6 states that make up 55% of the United States MMIWP cases are Washington, Montana being the second highest in the U.S., New Mexico, California, Alaska, and Arizona.
I hear you. Or you get better the next one.
Women's sovereignty is central to Indian sovereignty because our nations cannot be free if the Indian women are not free.
More than 1.5 million American Indians and Alaska Native women have experienced violence in their lives, the source from the National Institute of Justice. I also want to acknowledge our Mexican and Canadian sisters in the statistic.
On some reservations, Native women are murdered at a rate 10 times the national average.
I hear you.
The murder and disappearances of Native women and girls are often connected to domestic violence, dating violence, rape, and sex trafficking.
I hear you.
The crisis in missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls has deep roots in colonization.
I hear you.
May our missing mothers, daughters, sisters, aunties, nieces, and friends feel our breath on their faces from all of the 4 directions. May they inhale our love, capture our strength, and find their way home. May the ones in the spirit world watch over us and know they are missed.
I hear you.
Nya Ish, and thank you to these strong, amazing Native women here who are my helpers. Thank you, Nya Ish, thank you. And so as we close the event, we have multiple collaborative agencies who supported this mission and support our work. And so I just want to have all those partners come up and briefly share some of their insight and kind of ways that they support our health crisis and who they are, and continue building and strengthening those relationships. I think it's important here because we're a small program at Project Beacon, and we couldn't have done this without them. And so we do want to acknowledge them and each of those partners here. And so I briefly want to mention the partners that helped donated and collaborated and worked really hard with us is SARC, is Inclusive Excellence, American Indian Student Services, Indigenous Vision, Crime Victims Advocate, YWCA, Alternative Missoula, Zootown Arts Collaborative, Partnership Health Center, ACLU Montana, and the Poverello Center. So I want to have each of those agencies come and speak. This is the first time, many of which of those partner agencies that have worked with us. And so I want them to speak a little bit and share their support. So thank you.
Okay, hello again. As I said earlier, my name is Sharon Kickingwoman, and I am Blackfeet and Gros-Ventre. I grew up right here in Missoula, and I'm currently the Indigenous Justice Program Manager at the ACLU of Montana. We focus our work on organizing in Indigenous communities, supporting Native folks in the education system, and being a resource and ally to Native people as they face injustice in their lives. We know that many of these issues are intricately connected, where you can't separate MMIW from the violence against women in our country since first contact, from the jurisdictional mazes of our legal system, to losing students to the school to prison pipeline, to the over-incarceration of Indigenous people in our jails, to the extractive industry of fossil fuels and the harms they inevitably bring. We're all part of the solution and supporting survivors and Indigenous people in every facet and sphere of our life. We have the power and ability to make change, to demand change, and speak up against these injustices. As Native women, we deserve more and are worthy of more than what is happening. You see the statistics, you hear about the tragedies, and it's all very real. And the sad reality is that what we do know is grossly underreported. When we talk about MMIW, we're also talking about and uplifting our LGBTQ, Two-Spirit, trans, and Black Native relatives. I hope you all take the time to learn as you are right now, and make some change and ask for accountability. Make sure that our women don't fall through the cracks means putting our actions forward and providing resources to the front lines, to families who are being impacted, and to organizations. Please contact your representatives and urge their support on things like reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act. Even at the state level, just this past legislature, we had an unprecedented amount of bills passed regarding murdered and missing Indigenous women and relatives. And so make sure you support those Native legislators and those people who are really pushing for those resources. I want to end by saying that I hope you're taking care of yourself and most importantly, doing something to honor those who have gone. We miss them dearly, and I know that they miss us too. Talk to them, think good thoughts for them, and remember behind all the numbers are real people with real stories. So thank you to the organizers who brought us all together, and to the amazing partners you're about to hear from, who are offering just really much needed services in all kinds of different capacity. And then finally, thank all of you for joining us today.
Hi there, my name is Angel Charlotte Hughes. My pronouns are she, her, hers. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the YWCA. But first, just so that you know how I feel about it and how I'm involved, is that when I was 10 years old, my 16-year-old cousin was thrown from the Scott Street Bridge to her death. And as a 10-year-old, I had seen so much violence against women in my family that I thought it was normal. I was like, oh, that's, those are the things that happen. So I wanted to thank you for being here and thank all of the organizations for coming together in solidarity to show our kids that that is not normal and that is not acceptable. So thank you, every single one of you. Together with the YWCA USA and YWCAs across the country, our Missoula YWCA is dedicated to eliminating racism, empowering women, and promising peace, justice, freedom, and dignity for all. The YWCA opens doors to opportunity and self-sufficiency for women and families facing poverty, violence, and discrimination. With over 100 years of experience, the YWCA is the leading organization in Missoula for moving women and families out of crisis and empowering them to achieve lasting independence. They do amazing things here in Missoula, and with that, I'd like to introduce one of their employees and one of their selfless employees, Alethea Standing Rock.
Hi, my name is Alethea Standing Rock, and I'm originally from Missoula. I'm an enrolled member of the Rocky Boy Tribe, Chippewa Cree. I'm standing in support for the murdered and missing Indigenous women and people to help spread awareness for the epidemic that is plaguing our community. This is important to me as an Indigenous person because I witnessed the injustices of society through the entirety of my life. One of the most profound moments in my life was on April 13th, 1996, when my uncle Richard Lee Balofman was murdered in his motel room while he watched TV. His murderer received a manslaughter ticket. There was no investigation. There wasn't a secondary thought. It was just viewed as another dead Indian, and justice was served. This was one of the most important people in my life. Our entire family felt this injustice, and I was angry. At that time, I was not able to fight for justice for our uncle. I didn't know how to fight for justice for our people, because this was the social norm in society for our people. I stand in support with all of you here to spread awareness about our murdered and missing family members, to speak out on being overlooked and being invisible in the eyes of society. We are here standing in front of all of Missoula saying that we will not tolerate any more injustice for our people. We will not stand to be seen as less than. We will not stand quietly as our relatives are disappearing and being murdered and nothing solved. As a mother, as an aunt, as an Indigenous woman, I stand here unified with all of you here today. I'm standing against the social injustices of the Indigenous population of this nation, and I'm demanding answers for our murdered and stolen family members. I'm standing here in support saying that you are not alone in this fight. You are not a statistic. We are not a statistic. We are not a stereotype. We are the Indigenous people of this land, and we are members of this society. We are human beings, and we deserve social equality and social justice. That's all I have.
Good evening. My name is Jen Ewell. I'm the director of the Student Advocacy Resource Center here on campus. And for those of you who don't know, our work is all about supporting the survivors of violence. We provide a 24-hour support line, counseling services, advocacy services to support our students here on campus who may have either experienced violence or sexual assault or harassment or discrimination, or really any identity-based harm. And my role here is really just to thank you for being here. We stand in awe of the strength of the families and of those who are working directly with the families of the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. And this day is really about lifting up your voices and understanding the strength that all of you have, and really committing to supporting all of you and joining you in that battle moving forward. And I could not be more pleased that we have been able to really partner with Project Beacon and help support this event and their work. And I'm excited about the work that we might be able to do moving forward. So thank you all for being here. I should also add another big piece of our work is also prevention. So we're not just here to support, but we're also here to make a change. And that work for us is about making sure that every student who comes to the University of Montana gets training in violence prevention and how to be a bystander that can make a difference when they see violence happening. And so that is our charge, is to make that difference here on campus and to create a culture of respect that can prevent this kind of violence here at the University of Montana moving forward. So thank you. Thank you, Lauren, and thank you, Project Beacon, and all of you.
Hi, my name is Netta Linder in English, or Zakanatowia, Bluebird Woman in Nakota. I'm from the Haudenosaunee and Winopana bands of the Assiniboine, and I am here representing Partnership Health Center. Like many folks that have spoken tonight, I have many members of my family and community that have been affected by violence and murder and gone missing, and I struggled to think of narrowing down one story to honor. I do have a number of men in my family. I have right now 3 extended family members in time frame ranging from 26 years ago, almost 20 years ago, and less than 3 months ago, who were all murdered, and no one has ever been charged. One of them have never been found. And the most recent, and I have permission from his mother to use his name, was Cody Weeks Combs from Wolf Point. He was shot less than a block from his mother's home. And a few people have been interviewed, but no one has been arrested or charged with his death. And this is in a small community in a populated area, and I'm sure someone might have information on how Cody passed. And more than that, I know a number of women who have been, and girls, both my age, school age, older than me and younger than me. As you've heard so many times, this is not a new issue, who have been abducted or trafficked. And part of my personal story is when I was in grade school, or middle school, about 9 or 10 years old, I was walking home with my cousin, and a van pulled over off of the highway, and a man jumped out and tried to grab us. We were lucky enough that we got away. So I stand here recognizing that I'm one of the lucky ones. And I know not everyone's family here has that kind of outcome. So that being said, having those experiences is part of the reason that I came to work at Partnership Health Center about 12 years ago, was because I was tired of seeing people die of preventable causes, including mental health. We also have high rates of suicide in our population. We experience violence, which is more often than not perpetrated by non-tribal members, but often gets overlooked, as I can't tell you how many times that I've personally heard that, it's tribal on tribal violence. They do it to themselves, and that more than 90% of the time is not the case. So recognizing these things, Partnership Health Center is an integrated primary health center, and we do try to approach care in a trauma-informed approach, and we do try to provide care to all of our community members. And I know that many of our staff are aware that even though I work there, there are many, many more people in our community who have experienced things that are just outside of what most people have experienced, who are members of our community. So a lot of our providers, we work on cultural humility, we've worked on doing some human trafficking training. We try to do things with a trauma-informed care approach, and we also have medical and behavioral health for supporting family members and connecting people to other services in the community. And I am very glad to say that Toffer, our health equity coordinator, was able to connect and provide additional support for Project Beacon Missoula to be able to bring some speakers in today. So thank you all for being here and supporting this, and I look forward to working more with the community going forward. Thank you.
Two more left, and then we're going to go around.
Hi, my name is Sue Ellerman. I'm a member of the Homeless Outreach Team at the Poverello Center. The Poverello Center strongly supports the MMIW awareness event because the issue is not only a major health crisis across the nation, but also because we serve a disproportionate number of folks who are Native. This work is so necessary because of those systemic inequities, and the Poverello Center strives to address those disparities through outreach and services to provide food, shelter, help, and hope to all who ask. Our commitment to serving people in vulnerable situations is crucial to addressing the systemic racism in Montana. as a disproportionate number of BIPOC are impacted by poverty and homelessness in America. We strive to bring in more Indigenous voices into our decision-making as an organization and attempt to learn more about extending culturally relevant care to those we serve. Thank you.
Hello again, my name is Joni Kickingwoman. I'm here representing the Crime Victim Advocate Program, which is under the Criminal Justice Division in Missoula County. As part of our program, we serve victims of relationship violence through the criminal system. There's criminal advocates for that, and civil advocates do orders of protection to help protect survivors. And this service is available statewide in other urban communities, and there are resources available. And I'm proud to be here, and we partner with the agencies involved here today, and thank Lauren and the agencies who put forth their time and effort, and thank you all for being here. And my prayers are with the families. May they find justice, and may they find peace and healing and comfort. Thank you.
Michelle Guzman Kip. My name is Michelle Guzman, and I'm the Director of American Indian Student Services here on campus, and we help partner with this, and I'm glad you all got to be an event, because as Indigenous people, we're all affected by this in some way, somehow, whether it's a grandparent, an uncle, an aunt, a cousin. We know somebody, and it affects us in some way and somehow, and so I'm glad I've lived long enough, because growing up, in 1972, I had lost my grandmother to a drunk driver. My grandmother was drinking also, but because she was Indian and he was non-native, nothing happened to him. And that's my earliest memory of something like this happening in our lives, and how it forever changed our life. And all the people since then in my life that we have passed to things and nothing has been done. So it's good in my lifetime to be able to see and hear voices and people speaking up and saying this is an issue. Because when I was growing up, it was like you just have to deal with it, and you have to go forward, and that's it. And we don't talk about it. So it's good to be able to see that we are starting to have ways to deal with this and cope with it and recognize what it is and how we as Indian people are going to have to deal with it so we can do better for our children. And so if any of you are ever students here on campus, please come to our office. We're located in the Payne Native Family Native American Center, and we're always here. Our doors are open for whatever you may need, questions concerning anything. We're here for you.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for coming tonight. My name is Brad Hall. I'm the Tribal Outreach Specialist for the Office of the President, and I'd just like to thank everybody for coming. And like Michelle said, do come and see us at the Payne Center. We are always in favor of partnering with our community to raise awareness, but also to build more community and live in solidarity with one another. Thank you.
Power team right there. Man, Brad and Michelle. Woo! Way to finish this event, everyone. So at this time, wow, you can hear my echo. The university main hall is lit bright red. So we are going to conclude this event, and I ask everyone to go over here to our smudge and our candle table, and everyone grab a candle. If you have a family, please grab one candle, because we have so many candles right now to disperse. Everyone, please grab a candle. We're going to start over here right next to the Payne Center, and we're going to do a walk around, one full round in silence. I would like to have everyone please be silent and please hold all of our loved ones in prayer at this time. Once we do one full round, I ask for all those, if you want to do photos, to go ahead and go to the main hall. This is a beautiful event. This is the first time this has been lit up in red in the history of the university for MMIW, for our relatives. So we're making history, everyone. So please grab a candle, and then we're gonna start over here and do one full round. So thank you everyone for being here and for being here for the entirety of the event. This is amazing, and we're so glad we were able to have this outside. We were gonna have it inside the Pain Center, but there was way more than the capacity that we were allowed. We have probably close to about 175 people that came today just from clustering and kind of gathering that. So that is huge to have that amount of people that came in solidarity. So everyone, please go ahead and gather, get your candles, and go ahead and start. We're going to start walking. So try, as soon as you get your candle lit, go ahead and go. Go ahead and walk around, and then we're going to gather together. Oh, thank you, Sue. All right. Yep, we're going to go clockwise. So go towards your right along the Pain Center. And then everyone just go ahead and start walking, and please be in silence if we can. Please, this is to honor our loved ones and our family, and to also be with each other. So to be still with each other and to walk with an open heart and an open hand. So go ahead. I see people already getting their candles lit. Go ahead and go ahead and start walking. Go ahead and start walking as a group, and try to, it's okay if your candles go out. It's okay, just continue to walk. It is windy, and wind is good. Wind carries our prayers. Wind carries our loved ones near us. So it's okay if it's windy. Go ahead and continue. Go ahead and start walking, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here.